All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Say Yes Anyway podcast. I'm so excited. As you guys know, these are all conversations from the heart, truly just where we dig deep and we get to know those places of maybe doing some things that don't make sense to ourselves, maybe don't make sense to anybody else, but we know that we have to follow these things because it leads us to exactly where we're supposed to be. So I hope that this specifically today doesn't just inspire you, but it empowers you to actually go and live who you're created to be, fulfill those entire dreams and all that you have. And today I'm very excited because we have a special guest. Her name is Christina Flach. She's actually a world-renowned celebrity makeup artist, and she's worked with tons of celebrities, magazines, big brands like Vogue, People, Time, all that kind of stuff. She does also have a nonprofit that she's going to share a little bit about and some upcoming projects. And we can't wait to get to know more. So welcome to the show, Christina.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today. How are you?
Oh, I'm amazing. Thank you so much. Where are you, by the way? Where are you located?
I am in Healdsburg, California right now.
Okay, amazing. I actually moved from California, the LA area, to Barcelona, Spain. So you're where I was.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Nice. How are you living there?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I do miss California for sure, but if you come visit, you'll have to, I'll show you around. So what's one thing I would love to know first and foremost, what's one thing that you love about yourself and your life right now?
The freedom that I have to travel because my kids are older now. Aww. I love being able to just go, oh yeah, I'll jump on a plane. Like you just invited me to Spain. All right, I'll go tomorrow. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, maybe I'll have an opportunity. You can come out. Where would you go if you could go anywhere and just hop on a plane?
Oh, if I go anywhere I wanted right now, probably Italy. Like, the Amalfi Coast. I would love. I've never been, so that's like
it's amazing. I went over to the Amalfi Coast last year. It's stunning. Wow. You would love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that soon.
I love that. How many kids do you have, by the way? You mentioned that you have 5.
I have 5 plus like some kids I've inherited from my cousin passed away. So her daughter is now one of my chosen daughters. And then one of my best friends passed away last year. So I have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old that are
wow,
my kids. They're not my biologicals, but I try to spend a lot of time with them.
Wow. Now, do they live with you? Or is that more like so
more
motherly
yeah, I go do a lot of visiting and trying to spend time with them. So,
I'm sure that they love that. That's amazing. So you are a celebrity makeup artist. I'm curious. I was actually in the hair industry. And so it's really, it's fun to be able to talk to you about this, but I am curious, like what got you into makeup? And then what was kind of part of that journey of becoming where you are now? Like, are you from the LA area? Why did you end up there? So first starting there.
Okay. So I grew up in Marin County, California, which is Northern California across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, okay.
I grew up there and I played tennis as a junior and went to college playing tennis. But I always loved transforming people, making them look like the best versions of themselves. And the one that I remember the most significantly was my mother. She had been diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer, lost her hair. She was incredibly beautiful, but the chemo and the radiation really did a number on her face and her hair. And so she was going out to dinner with my dad one night. And I said, Mom, let me do your makeup and your hair. And like, I really didn't know what I was doing. And she didn't have a lot of products, but miraculously we managed to make her look and feel like the best version of her. And so that always stuck with me. And it still does to this day, how I can transform someone into looking like they've never imagined. And that's a really great feeling.
Wow, that's amazing. See, isn't that incredible? I remember when I was a hairdresser, and I know it's the same for makeup artists, but there are not very many professions that you actually have the authority to physically touch people. And there's something so powerful about physical touch. Like humans need that. And like, it's not in an unhealthy, weird way. It's like, oh my gosh, like I have been missing this kind of touch and this intimacy of getting close because you can like see the person, you bring out, like you said, the best of them. So what for you, like, why did even that kind of matter? Because I do think, I don't know, I'm also curious about, it's like at least also what I saw with living out in LA. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And being in a world where tons of celebrities and tons of, people are trying to be something or become something.
Mhm.
What do you think that's like with being in a world that feels almost so vain, but at the same time, humans, all desire some sort of connection? I feel like you're very upfront and up close with that. What's that like?
So I usually start with my clients, like a hand massage with some aromatherapy, and it kind of just grounds them, but it also kind of connects us, just like what you were speaking about human touch. Last week I was at the Bloomberg Tech Convention with with literally every tech CEO, billionaire in the Silicon Valley were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done, surprisingly, I've worked with almost all of them at one time. In fact, Whitney Wolf, who is the founder of Bumble, she and I had done an Elle magazine shoot together like 8 years ago, right before she got married and had her kids. So it was so great to see her last week again, because I'd spent 2 days with her on the shoot. And when it's like almost going to camp, when you have these, when you have a day or two with someone all day long, it's like you really get to know them quickly and well. And I love that part of my job. I love meeting new people. I love to travel. I like making people look and feel like the best versions of themselves. And it's a fun job. I mean, I have to say, it's, waking up super, like last week was exhausting. I woke up for 3 days in a row at 4 or 4:15 to be on set at 6 or 7. And you're on your feet all day long. So it's exhausting, but in the same token, it's fun and it's exciting and it's intense. So I like that. I like all of those feelings.
Wow. So I am curious, because I even remember when I first moved to LA, little 21-year-old girl thinking, okay, I'm going to be like this celebrity hairdresser and like famous fitness coach and stuff. And it was awesome. I did great. But I do remember it was pretty tough when I first went out, and I even had a friend. They were like, hey, Jess, you can throw a rock and you're going to hit like 1,000 hairdressers. So what makes you different? Or like what's going to allow you to.
And what made you different?
Yeah.
What made you different?
So, or are you asking me, or are you?
I'm asking you, what made you different?
For me, it was very much that like real authenticity. Like I truly just care so much about people. Honestly, for me, it wasn't even about like the glamour. I was not the type of person that knew everything. I like looked through magazines, of course, because I was like, oh shoot, I should probably keep up with the magazines, but like I didn't care about it. And so people wanted to just be my friend because I was just so real. And I didn't know why. I didn't think that was so special. But I was like, oh, like a place out here is missing that. And I was like, that's kind of like really crazy. And so it definitely, worked. I wasn't trying, but then I realized that most people were. And so I am curious for you, though, with being in the industry for so long as well, like what got you to, some people go out there to like make it, quote unquote, whatever that means. And some people never get to a place of like working with celebrities, or like it's a dream for a lot of people, but they don't. So what makes you different to have been able to do that and some people not?
I think because I have an incredible work ethic. I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean it like I don't turn down jobs. Even if sometimes I don't get paid for jobs, but I want to work with a certain photographer or athlete or project. So when my agents call, I'm like, yes. Like they laugh. They're like, you don't even know what we're offering you. I'm like, doesn't matter, I'll do it. So they know that I work really hard. And then I also am not a pain in the ass. I get there on time. I do my job. I'm pleasant. I'm positive. I thank whoever hired me there. I send them a note after saying, hey, thank you so much for having me on set. Looking forward to working with you again. So they see that I go the extra mile. And that's what I think differentiates me from a lot of people. I don't have an attitude like, oh, that's beneath me. I'll go get my client water or tea, or, like I mentioned earlier, do the massaging of the hand. Like it was so funny. The CEO of, what was it? Reddit, the other day, I was massaging his hand. He's like, Oh my God. I do interviews all the time. I've never had a makeup artist, give me a hand massage. And
Aw.
so they remember that. And so like I do a lot with Bachelor Nation, and I have some like Ben, what's his name? Ben Adams. He like has fallen asleep in my chair. Like he just gives me his hand. He's like, out. So I think, I make sure that my makeup kit is perfect. Everything's clean and sanitized. I just try to because these clients, sometimes they want to talk, sometimes they want silence. Sometimes they want to hear about my life, sometimes they want to tell me about whatever. And I have to gauge that in 3 seconds, as you, I'm sure, remember, of what the client wants. It is not about me. I mean, sometimes my clients want their makeup done a certain way, which I don't think technically is correct or the best, but they're going to go in front of a camera and I don't want them distracted, feeling like they don't look the way they like to look. It's so weird with makeup. We did, my TV husband and I on California Live, we've done 2 segments on a beauty dare challenge. And what that was like, if you wore very little makeup, take it up a couple notches. If you wear a ton, take it down and see how you feel. And it is incredible how people are so emotionally attached to
it's so true.
If they don't, fill in their brows, or they felt so uncomfortable. And so that's what we said, like, examine why you feel so uncomfortable. Like changing your makeup routine a little bit. And I think change is good. It's exciting. Yeah. It's like, try something new. It's makeup. It's not forever. It's not a tattoo.
Totally. What do you think that people get? Like, do you think that they're insecure, or is it something they're like why are they uncomfortable, when they're doing something?
Because I think they have a vision of how they look. Like, I have certain clients that don't want their brows filled in at all, or they wear these ridiculously large lashes. That's how they feel like they look like their best. So they're going to be more comfortable. So if I do something that deviates from what their comfort zone is, it's a problem. So I really have to listen, and I'll make suggestions like, hey, have you thought of trying this? Like, let's see how this looks. But then I always have to say, but if you're not comfortable, you don't like it, like, we'll do whatever you want. It is totally, and I'm sure you remember this, it is not about what I think or feel. It's how I make my client look and feel. It's so important. I think a lot of, and I hear this complaints from clients, a lot of makeup artists have a certain way of doing their makeup. They don't want to listen to the client. They want to do it the way they want to do it. And then the client's offended. They don't like it. They'll never hire that artist again. It's really, listening is a humongous skill.
How do you think you learned that? Because it's true. I think a lot of people don't take the time to listen, or they don't really know what that even is like.
I don't know. I think I'm sure I learned it from some other makeup artists that I was on set with a long time ago, but also just maybe one time finding a client that I was chatting and they didn't want to chat. And so, or I was quiet and they wanted to chat. So I don't know. I'm really good at reading people's vibes. So yes, I can tell if they want, like, I work with Tyler Florence a lot for 16 years now. And there's days that we are like brother, sister, chatting and laughing, and, and then there's other days that he's, really just focused on if we're doing a commercial and he has to read a script, he's studying that, or if he's on calls. I just have to be very respectful of these people, because I'm getting paid a lot of money to make them look and feel good. It's not about what I look or think or feel at all.
Yeah.
And if you know that, when you go into a job, it's a lot easier.
That's great. Yeah. And you said a good point, because I do, with the listening thing, I think no matter what, it doesn't matter what industry or whatever you're in, people want to be heard. And so if you're just bulldozing through and making it all about you, people want to, they don't feel heard. They don't have this connection. They don't feel safe. And so I was just talking to somebody about it a couple of days ago, because she's about to host a retreat, and I've done that so many times. And she was like, what's one thing you would do different or have learned? And I was like, getting to know people and being able to facilitate the people in the room of what's actually going on. Because if you just like have your idea of like, okay, I'm going to go in and do da 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 da, but really the energy of the people there is totally different, then you're not even going to like you're not going to have the success of like whatever the room or the person needs to experience. And so I think that
Exactly.
that's huge. It's more like an experience that you're giving people. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that, even if they don't do makeup, or if you do, it's like, hey, practice that social awareness, practice that listening and leaning into like the human right in front of you. And it's going to make you so much better at whatever the heck you're doing.
You're so accurate. And I also think it's such a blessing. Like when I get to meet like a Condoleezza Rice,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't need it. Like who the heck, what do I don't, I've heard myself. I know all my stories. I want to hear her. So,
Yeah.
or, who else have I, Rita Moreno, like I want to absorb every little speck of these people
Mhm.
that of course it's fun to ask them questions and things, but letting them share with you whatever it is that whatever it is
Mhm.
you're like. Lisa Rice is a big golfer, and my kids all are competitive golfers. They play in college, they're top juniors in the country. And so she has the same coach as one of my sons. And
Oh.
so we chatted about that. And here's another blessing, just because I own a makeup company as well. I am so blessed to be able to, ask questions to these amazing entrepreneurs that it's like
Mm.
getting an MBA every time I go on set with someone, because they all have an amazing story. And, I think that's one thing that I've learned. People, if you ask, people are so willing to share their experience and knowledge. And I
Mhm.
think one thing that I've learned is don't be afraid to ask for help or an
Mhm.
opinion or a guidance from somebody that has, successes in their life. It's kind of like part of the deal. You need to, like, I get phone calls from people sometimes asking me, like, oh, how do you start your company? And what do I do? And I'm more than happy to share any knowledge that I have with anybody. So I
Mm.
think it's really, it's a gift with purchase every time I go on set with someone that's had such an extraordinary life.
Wow. What's one of the pieces of guidance, thought that you were maybe surprised by somebody in your presence that you were working with?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. But I think like Tyler, he's who I spend my most of my time with. I mean, because I've had him the longest and we've done TV shows. Like we just finished Great Food Truck Race, 17th season, and that we were away for 8 weeks. So I spent a lot of time with
Tons of
him over
time,
the
yeah.
years. Yeah. So he's always taught me to dream bigger than I could ever imagined.
Hmm.
And, to get out of your comfort zone. You great things he's always says, like, if everyone knew how hard it was to be exceptional, no one would do a goddamn thing. You
Mm.
don't know.
Good,
And
yeah.
so he's done so much in his career, just besides being a chef and the TV shows and all the different businesses he has. That inspires me to do more than
Mm.
just be a makeup artist and have my own line. Like I'm starting a new company now called I'm Too Busy. I'm also going to be hosting a new TV show called I'm Too Busy. And so my skincare and makeup line, I'm really excited about, because I hear from people all the time, oh, I don't have enough time to get ready. And I want everyone to be able to quickly get themselves looking like the best versions of themselves to go into a business meeting. And so everyone tells me, I'm like, so what's your skincare regime? They're like, oh, I just bought this like 19-step process. It was like $1,000 and I love it so much. And I'm like, oh, well, how many times have you used it? Well, once, but I'm going to. And the thing with skincare, it's consistency. So I worked with this amazing beauty chemist that created the setting spray for Urban Decay. We've come up with a 3-step process with a reverse cleansing. And so it was so interesting. During the process, he asked me, so what do you do first thing in the morning? And I said, well, splash my face with water. And he's like, wrong. He goes, do you drink the water you splash your face with? And I'm like, God, no. He's like, well, then why would you put it on your face? So that was interesting. So what we do is we put the cleanser and the moisturizer, mix it together, put a shield up over the face, and then it's kind of a barrier from, the harshness of the water that's drying and will show fine lines and wrinkles. So
Really? That's interesting.
I never knew that. So that was fascinating. And
Huh.
then the third step is protection of the face. So, it's 3 steps, super easy for men and women. And then with the makeup, There's so many, I mean, we all know there's a million brands out there, and a lot of them, they have these influencers that, do all these new crazy things, baking, contour, all these things, right?
Mhm.
The average woman doesn't have time, desire, or knowledge of how to do that. If she's running off to a meeting or going to school, to help in the classroom. So I want people to be able, and they buy things that they get talked in. When you go to a department store, they get talked into buying all this stuff, and it sounds good at the time, but then you get home and you're like, ugh, I don't know how to use this. And it sits in the drawer.
And then sometimes they don't go together, and
right. Yeah, you don't have the makeup skill, like you don't know how to do it. And so you have to remember, the people that are in the department stores are salespeople. They're not typically makeup artists.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So they're trying to sell you products that, I don't know how you're going to get brand loyalty from a customer if you sell them a bunch of products that they're not going to use. We all have that drawer of gift with purchase products. So, what I tell people to do is all that stuff that's sitting there that you're going to use one day that we all know you're not, put them in little gift bags and give them to someone else that will use it. Don't let the stuff sit there, because it does have a shelf life.
So as you're talking about this new business that's coming up, did this come because of your client having that idea of dreaming bigger? Were you like, oh, what would I do if I actually dreamed bigger? This is what I would do. Did it come from that, or how did this idea come? Really? That's amazing. And then why was it this specifically? Is it because I know you said you want to provide this for all the people that are like, I'm too busy, but is there something in your own life as well that you were like, oh, I'm a busy, woman as well. Like I would need this. Like where did that stem from?
I think that I just get tired of seeing people wasting money on products that they don't use. And then I also think, well, okay, that's not a good business plan if you're getting people to buy stuff that they don't really use. They're going to resent you. So why are they going to come back and show you brand loyalty if you're selling them stuff that they don't really need? I just want it to be simple. There's a million lines, but what I want with this line is that there's something for brows, shadow, liner, mascara, cheeks, and lip, and that be that. I don't want it to be, and I know we're trying to, make money. I just want people to be able to just trust that I'm telling you as a makeup artist what you actually need to look like the best version of you, and buy those products, and not a bunch of things that you really don't need.
Thank you so much to Cured Nutrition, where I've had to heal and restore my entire body. And these have been absolutely unbelievable for my body, for my mind, for my nervous system. Anywhere from all those adaptogens to functional mushrooms, nootropics that really help to heal from the inside out, help with your performance, my mental clarity, my balance, stress relief and adrenal support, and then to really be able to recover in all of my sleep. And as well as this solve, I love putting it on my body. So thank you so much to Cured Nutrition. Do you see this being in, Nordstrom's, department stores, or is this going to be in like smaller store? I don't know. What do you have a vision?
I think it's going to be more. I want it to be affordable for everybody. We're talking with a bunch of different, places, different stores and stuff. So I don't want to really commit to one thing, but it's not going to be a brand. It's not going to be a Dior beauty that's super expensive. I want it to be affordable for everybody. So people
so people can actually, not just for like your celebrity clientele, for example, for the average anybody. Okay.
I want everyone to be able to look and feel like a celebrity and get the same look that give a celebrity or anyone else that sits in my makeup chair.
I love that. So what's one of the biggest major moments that you've had to say yes to in your life that really didn't make sense? Like whether it was like something really difficult or hard or something like very expansive, but one of the biggest major ones that you've had to do that and you did, and it brought you to where you are today.
I think when my friend Berlin Fisher, my TV husband, asked me to be a beauty expert on NBC on California Live, my first reaction was, hell no.
Oh, wow.
I'm behind the camera girl. I'm not in front of the camera girl. And I was so terrified. And he's like, girl, get your ass comfortable being uncomfortable. You'll be fine. This is what you do. You talk about this every day. Like, I'm not asking you to speak about nuclear science here. It's about what you know. So when he told me that, that was, I'm like, okay, I'll try and do it. And I'm omitting the word trying because that gives you wiggle room to get out if it
Right,
abort the mission. Right?
exactly. Yep,
So
yep.
now it's like I'm setting a goal and I'm going to do it. And
Mm.
so when you decide, when you tell the universe and you're super clear what you're going to do,
Oh yeah.
happen. And so, the amazing, I think it's been 2 years now, 2.5 years that I've been doing this with him. And I am so much more confident speaking in public and in front of people. It gave me a confidence that I didn't know I had. So
Wow.
so now I know that when I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable, now I know that uncomfortable feeling or fear is going to lead to something great.
Do you think that there's something in your life currently that you're super afraid of, that you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need to do this because it's going to lead to something great?
I'm terrified to start this new show, to host this show, because I've always
Why is
been
that?
like a guest on shows, and I'm kind of like, oh, it's making me a little comfortable, but I just have to, like, okay, I'm doing it. I have to, it'll be fine.
So
If I can do
what are
me,
some things that you do actually when you're like terrified to do it? Are you taking yourself through a process and you're like, okay, I need to just on the count of three, ready, set, go, and just do a thing? Or like, what's your process of like getting through the scaries?
breathing, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, take some breaths.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say a lot of affirmations. I'm successful, I'm grounded, I'm determined, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm loved, I'm grateful, I'm wealthy. I'll say that over and over. The
Mm.
universe loves me. I will say a bunch of affirmations. And then I'll also just be like, okay, this is your world. You know this. Just do it. And I also think it's going to be like the I'm Too Busy show. What I'm excited about is all these great conversations that I have with my clients,
Mm.
all these incredible entrepreneurs. Um, that I'm going to try and get some of my clients to, do my show. I'm going to say, look, just let me interview you for 5 minutes, and see where
Yes.
all the cool people that I meet, I'm just going to try and get them on my show. So
That's
that's
amazing.
going to be fun because it's like those conversations that I get to have with my clients are like priceless to me.
Wow. So what's a question or what's a conversation even for 5 minutes that you're just like so excited to have? And like, if you could ask them anything, what would it be?
That's a good question. How do you keep balance in your life? How do you keep going when you're exhausted? Or what does failure mean to you? Or
Mm.
is this failure?
So how do
So,
you keep going through life? How do you create balance and well-being with being you're like such a badass and you have
oh,
children and
please.
everything. So what helps you?
Being very disciplined. And I think that's probably the one thing that I think I see with all my clients that are successful entrepreneurs, the discipline of, like, I wake up every day, I have water and lemon or some vinegar in it. I have a green juice, I have tea, I exercise, I think about things I'm grateful for. I get enough rest. I sleep. I also try to have some fun every day. Like, for example, yesterday, I was home all day doing work and doing podcasts. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go up to the driving range and hit a bucket of balls. Like,
Mm,
sometimes you just have to remove yourself from whatever it is you're doing. Sometimes, like, okay, I'm tired. I'm going to go get my nails done. I go to yoga. I go
mm,
to Pilates. I go for a walk. So,
mm.
being active, I think, is super, making sure I'm hydrated and not getting too hungry or too thirsty.
Oh, 100%. Otherwise, that gets you
Self
going
care.
backwards.
Totally. And I honestly feel that self-care is not selfish. I can give
Mm,
more of me to everyone in my life when I've worked out, when I've eaten well, when I've rested. I mean, and I also think for my kids for them to see me having a balanced life and a happy life where I'm feeling loved and laughter and joy, having a beautiful environment. I want my kids to have that. So if
mm.
I can't demonstrate it, how are they going to know what that is?
Oh,
So I think
100%.
my kids are a big inspiration to me.
Wow. What inspires you the most about your children?
Oh my gosh, they're so funny. They're so interesting. I just went this past weekend. I went to Pebble Beach with my two sons that are golfers, and they had a tournament for 3 days. And I love how they interact. They're so funny. And it's funny seeing myself in them sometimes. Like, my one son asked for a cookie when he was on, like, whole 17. He's like, can you go get, so I went and got him a cookie and they didn't have chocolate chip. They only had raisin. And he's like, I hate raisins. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I do. Like, it's just funny to see how they are, and I love seeing that they're happy and passionate about what they're doing with their lives. I love that. I think that's really, really neat.
Wow, that's incredible. So what would you share? It was just Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Or 2 days ago. What would you share to other moms, if you could say anything about caring for your children or being like a good mother to your children? What would you say?
Don't be their friend, be their parent. I think, my kids used to make fun of me as I was that mom that was like a pain in the ass and strict and everything. And my whole thing was, hey, I'm raising functioning, happy people that are going to be successful. Like, I don't care what you think of me when you're 17 or 15 years old, obviously you want your kids to like you, but I want my kids to see that I figured out a way to make money doing what I love doing. And I wish that for them as well. And I think that kids notice everything you're doing. So it's really important to set a good example. My daughter Rose told me once, your lectures on drugs and alcohol were so lame. And I'm like,
what would you say?
Like, those were award winning. And she's like, no, she's like, not really. But she said, the way you conduct yourself, the way your work ethic, the way you treat people, the way you handle difficult situations is so much more impactful. So that surprised me. I didn't realize your kids seeing you texting while you're driving. They see, if you're gossiping or not being your best self. So I think what I really try to do is show my kids a healthy, happy life. And I wish the same for them.
That's beautiful. It's so true. I even think about my mom and I'm like, whoa, there's so many different things. I remember when I was younger that I was like, oh, I don't want to be like my mom, just because you're like a little girl. And then later as life goes on and you're just like, oh my gosh, like I admire her. And you're like, oh wait, I kind of am her. Oh my gosh, those things that I didn't really like about her, I kind of am. But like I learned that from her and I need to embrace that. And so it's true. It's like stuff I'm sure that your kids, they watch everything. And then they look back and they're like, oh, because I got that from my parents, And so I do know that you also did start a nonprofit. And can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that came to be?
Yes. So I started the Baby Bo Educational Fund and the Ken Flach Educational Fund at the Northern Lights School in Oakland, California. It's a private school for underprivileged children. The school runs on grants and donations. So it's really important, to raise money for the school. I've been doing it. My son, Bo, passed away Christmas Day, oh my gosh, 17 years ago. So he and his twin, Ben, Ben has a golfer. And so for the last 7 years, he's been playing in the celebrity golf tournament, raising money for his brother and his dad's educational funds. And so he's raised over $200,000.
Wow.
All my kids have helped in one way or another with the golf tournament or going to the school and helping with the kids. And, last October, he raised $75,000 in one day.
Wow.
Which 7 kids are going to be able to go to private school for a year. And so I feel so proud that, Ben has, at such a young age he doesn't even realize the impact of what he has done, what he does.
That's
so it makes me really, really proud that, that he's, I don't just I want my kids to see that you have to raise, help others if you're blessed and privileged like we all are, that kids are not as blessed that have the means to go to a private school, because those are the kind of things that change families, communities, lives, and trickling down to the world, higher education and teaching kids to eat well from a young age. I helped start the Bo Friedman outdoor classroom at the Edna McGuire School in Mill Valley, California. Nutrition and education are very important to me. And I think that if kids are exposed to growing carrots, cooking with them, doing science experiments, there's fruit trees that they have a farmer's market on Fridays for this school. So if they can see like, wow, they planted a seed and lettuce came out and then they tasted it, they're more inclined to have good eating habits as they get older. And, try different healthy snacks like eating an apple or a carrot instead of a bar or something with sugar or a chip. So those are like all those kind of things make me feel really good about, trying to make the world a better place.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I relate a ton. I actually have I have a nonprofit that we essentially work with those affected by like trauma and human trafficking and a lot of impoverished situations. And a big thing is like even what you talk about, like, you heal through things like food, you heal through other things. And when people are giving, like watching their lives transform and other people too. Was this inspired because of your son and your husband?
Yes. I
Okay.
think part of, everyone grieves differently, but for me, there's always someone that has a worse life or worse hardships than you have. And so it made me feel good to help others. But I also wanted I didn't want my son to be forgotten. I didn't want him to be forgotten. So
Good.
I thought if I could help other kids have a better life and be educated, like his memory would live on. And my husband, the same thing. He played in this golf tournament. He supported our charity. And so after he passed 6 years ago from sepsis, I really wanted to honor him and keep his memory alive. I started, he passed away from sepsis. And so after the Sepsis Alliance contacted me, my husband was a professional tennis player, former #1 player in the world. And so he had a, broad audience. And so they thought that I could help raise awareness. And so I thought, I don't want anyone to go through what our family has gone through with the loss of him. And
Wow.
it helped me to grieve in a positive way. I think grieving doesn't have to be a widow in a black veil, angry and hating everything. I think I had this vision of, I was on a hike one day and I could hear my husband saying, I hate seeing you so sad and crying.
Wow.
I can't comfort you the way if I was there. And so I thought about that. How would I feel if I was looking down on him or my kids or, my friends or you going, and your guys are sad about me not there. That's not honoring them at all. So what I try to do is do something positive and, love, just, be grateful for the time that I had, not for what I didn't have or don't have,
Wow. Yeah. Do you mind me asking because I know you said the grieving process is different for everyone, and I agree completely. And I've had some grief for sure in my life. And I know it's like sometimes when somebody goes through something and sometimes you're just like, I don't know what to say, because everybody's grieving so differently. And it's also different for maybe our children or for our friends. And so what was that process, however you want to share, how little or as much as you do for you, and then also like your family, just because with where you guys are now, I know it's not easy, but like to give, I think, hope for people to know that if they go through something really difficult, your process could look like anything that it is. And there's also hope, like look at where you guys are at now. So whatever you want to share on that, would love to hear.
So I think, grieving, especially at the beginning, you're in such shock and dismay. Like, how did this happen to me? In my case, how did this happen again and again? Like, God thinks you can handle a lot. And I'm just like, you don't even know your own strength sometimes, like how strong you can be. But I think at the beginning stages, it's like, don't get too tired, too hungry, make sure you exercise, make sure you rest, all those things. Those would trigger me thinking everything was worse than it was. So it was really self-care at that, during the beginning stages of grieving is super important. Being grateful for, my daughter had taught me that, like, you have to be grateful for what you have, not what you don't have, because you're not guaranteed a lifetime with anybody. I mean, it would be great if we were, but you have to be grateful for that you even had that person in your life at all. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's helpful. I also think that, because my kids have gone through so much, I can't go off the deep end. because it'll affect them. And so I feel like they've been through enough. And so it's really like, I really had to keep it together. And I wouldn't want I want my husband to look down and be proud of me and my son and my mom and, my friends and my cousin that's up there, so I kind of feel like I have all these angels watching over me and I'm blessed,
You do.
Yeah. And so I think, when I see that my family has raised money for all these kids and, raising awareness for sepsis and all these things, it's just part of the deal. You just kind of, I can't have this platform and speak on these things and not share, if I can help someone know that what, time does heal. You're never going to get over it. It's never going to not have that little piece of you gone, but just know that it'll soften and you learn to manage it and you know what triggers you and what doesn't. And some days honestly are worse than others. Some days you're just extra sad, but maybe it's because you're extra tired, or, you've just had a hard day and, life's not fair. It just isn't. But life is whatever you make it. I believe that happiness is a choice. So you can choose to be happy or choose to be miserable. It's entirely up to the life you want to have.
That's so good. Yeah, it's encouraging to hear because the reality is I think we all hold, and I know for myself too, so tightly to like what life looks like or the people in our lives or even our dreams, and it's like we're not promised tomorrow. And I think that's just such a hard concept for us to grasp. Unless, like, even if your TV show like was gone tomorrow or whatever, it's like, or if my dream that I have that I'm creating like was gone tomorrow or whatever, or the person I love the most is gone tomorrow, it's like, in all reality, we're not promised any of it. And that's such a crazy concept, truly, because we're in it. And
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
it's such
a
weird
this thing, and it was so interesting. Like it was like a mom was saying, like talking to God, saying like, how could you take away my husband? I'm devastated and it's like so awful. How could you be so mean? And God looked down on her and said, why don't you be grateful that you had that person at all?
Wow.
You weren't guaranteed anything. And so that's why I tell people, don't waste time.
I just got
really
the chills. That's so good.
Like I tell my kids, I tell everyone, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Like I don't take anything for granted or any time. Time is the greatest gift anyone can give me. And I think that it's so important to have love in life and joy. Life's hard enough, but I also feel like people ask me, oh, aren't you afraid to fail? I fail all the time, but I don't consider it a failure. I'm going for a goal. I've set a goal, and sometimes things are happening not to you, they're happening for you. Sometimes the universe wants you think, oh, I need to just go straight down this road. Well, there's a left or a right. Sometimes the universe wants you to make a change. And so to take the word failure out, failure to me is not setting a goal and doing it, having an idea or a desire for something and just, oh, well, I want to do this, but I'm making excuses as to why they're not doing it. It takes sacrifice to be exceptional and do these things. And it's like, believe me, I've had a million failures, but sometimes it was a blessing in disguise that I didn't even realize till later. So now I don't sit and think about what could happen if something goes wrong. I just focus on what I want to have happen because I know inevitably you will get whatever it is you're focused on. So if you're praying for bad things to happen and, oh God, I'm worrying is a total waste of time. Yeah. That's one thing I've learned. It's a waste of time. You will get whatever you are focused on. So focus on what you want, not what you don't want.
Wow, that's so good. Another, before we wrap up, I know you mentioned a couple times, well, I got the chills when you said that one quote about, dang it, what did you say? It was what your friend told you about God. Oh, be grateful that God brought you that person into your life anyway, because basically, we didn't even, it's not like we deserved it,
I mean, you don't know that. Yeah, you don't know, that's why it's, cherish the people you love and like, don't take things for granted.
Yeah.
And be kind, treat people don't have regret in life about, oh God, I shouldn't have gotten mad at that person. Take a breath before, your words can really hurt. So be mindful of the words that you use, and, just try to be your best, try to be 1% better every day.
I love that. Well, I
Yeah.
do want you to know that you are a beacon of light and hope and
Oh,
inspiration. And I do
so
believe that even through the hardship, that you are also more relatable, even with like to your children, but also to the work that you get to do and for your dreams that are going to come too. It's like, oh, wow, you are this real, genuine human that's been through, hell and back. And at the same time, like watch you bring all this hope to the world. And to me, that matters a lot. And so I just want to say thank you
you.
for continuing to be that, because I just
Thank you so
know the
much.
world needs more of it. Do you have anything else that you would really want the audience and listeners to know, that if they are in a place of doubt, if they're in a place, whatever it might be, whether it just in any area of their life, something that maybe you would tell your younger self, what would you tell her?
Dream bigger than you could ever imagine, because I could never have imagined my career and all these adventures I've had could have happened. Like I couldn't have even imagined. So dream bigger than you think, and be open to things. Like, there's things that I thought, oh gosh, I could never do that. I could never do that. Well, be open to it. Do it. If that opportunities come to you for a reason, walk through the door. The door opened, walk through it. You don't want to have regrets later in life, like, oh God, I should have done that, or what would have happened if I had done that? I don't want to have those regrets. I mean, I'd rather be rather uncomfortable and feeling very scared, but knowing that, God, I can't believe I'm on NBC and I get to speak about beauty and wellness and, share things. And so I can look back and go, wow, I did all of those things. And that was really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. And then where can people find you and then find what's up and coming with your business, your TV show, all the big dreams that you have too, so people can be in touch with you?
Thank you. So you can go to ChristinaFlach.com and you can scroll down and see videos and different things I've done. My portfolio's there, different TV shows, different articles I've written. And then prettygirlmakeup.com. And then we have I'mTooBusy.com coming up, and the TV show. And then Instagram, Christina Flach Makeup and Pretty Girl Makeup and I'm Too Busy.
I love it. Okay. Exciting things to come. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much for your time today. Seriously, it was
Thank
such an honor, a
you.
pleasure. I can't wait for everybody to hear, and everybody go check her out because she's awesome, amazing things. And yeah, we hope that this wasn't just an inspiration, but something to really empower you fully into your next step. So thanks so much, Christina.
Thank you.
Wasn't that episode so good and inspiring? I really hope that you took something really impactful for you. And if you liked this, please, please, please go and share it. Go share it with a friend. Go tag us on Instagram. You can find Christina Flach and you can find myself, Jessdoll_, and we'll go ahead and share it. And then please leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, because this is able to reach so many more people if you do so. Thank you so much. And we truly cannot wait to see you at the next one.